Hi guys, Hamza here and welcome back to the channel. Today we're just going to take a very brief look at the Elementor divider element. So I already have a website here, but I just want to add a little bit of styling and division between the website. And I can simply use the Elementor divider element, which is a pretty nice and interesting element from Elementor. So to get the divider element, I just come here to the elements column. Then I search for divider. And it shows up right down here. Or sometimes it's just basically down here. Then I just drag it wherever I want it to appear or wherever I want to place it. So I can just even take you up here. And then I can even place it anywhere around here. So in this case, I want to push it down here in this section. And I want to just put it here between the two text elements. By default, it has this blank line. But basically, the divider is to give you the ability to style up your sections so that they don't look really boring. And we can do that by simply clicking on the edit icon of the divider. And when we come to the content, we can choose on the many versions of the dividers that have been added by Elementor. We can have a solid line, we can have a double line, we can have a dotted line, a curved line. So in this case, I'll first leave it here at the curved line setting. Here you can decide on how long your divider will stretch within this exact section. This width is only determined by the column section. So you can decide whether you want it to be 76% because here it is a percentage icon that is selected. But if you want it to be in pixels, well and good, you can just set that up here. And you can just enable pixels, but I don't prefer pixels because if you set it to be pixels, then it won't adapt based on the size of the column on different devices. So I prefer the percentage, and here you can just say maybe you want it to be only about 50%, and then here you can set it to be centered. And here we have also the ability to add an element. If you don't want to add an element within here, of course you just click here on the none icon. If you want to add text, you can just click here and say more in this section. You can even set it to be dynamic based on something else that you have created, whether a request parameter, whether a shortcode, whether an author, and a lot more. And if you don't wish to use text, you can set an icon from the many icons that have been provided by Elementor in the icon library by clicking over here, come down here, choose look up for an icon. For example, this is an interesting one. I can just insert it here, which is for table tennis or something like that. And then you can do a couple of stylings, but also you are in position to upload your own SVG. That is if you created one, and you can just bring it over here to this section. So this is one that I created, so I can just replace that icon. That means that I won't have that icon show up, so I'll be using my own icon right here. But if we go to the styling and we come to icon, we have the ability to decide on how big our icon will look like in this section, which is pretty interesting. So I'll make it to be I'll make it 50 on the size, and then I can decide the icon position, whether at the end or at the start or in the middle. I'll decide the middle, and at the same time you can simply change your icon color right from here. That is if it's an SVG. And then you can decide the spacing. This is the spacing before and after the icon, which is only applying between here and here. I'll just leave it at default, and you can also decide to rotate your icon. Wow, I'm loving this. So I just leave it at default, and also you have the option to determine how you want the icon to be viewed, whether it is stacked or if it's framed. But no, I don't need anything like that. I just set it back to default. And now let's go back to the divider options, which is still under styling. You can set your divider color. Let me just make this to look alike, like one from our icon, something like that. Okay, and then I can also decide the weight of our divider. Well, this looks nice. Okay, and then you can also decide on the size, on how big it is going to look like. So I'll just make it, I think 20 is fine. 20 looks fine. And then the amount, how many curves in your divider. I don't want them to be too much. 20 still look nice. and then the gap before and after the divider. So I'll leave it at default. However, you still have the options to set the gap between different viewpoints of your section. You see now here it looks very different, and that means I can also decide on how the gap is going to look like. At the same time, when I come to the icon, still I can do the same adjustments, see, or even the rotating. I'll just leave them still at default. Let me go back to the divider, and then still on the responsive section you can decide on how much still you want your curves to be separated from each other, which is set by the amount, and then the size, okay, which still I'll leave it at 20, and boom. So there you're done with your settings, changing the color, weight, amount, size. So let me just go back to the desktop version. Come now to advanced. So with the advanced settings, you can still do a lot more with your margins, do a lot with your paddings, both top, bottom, left and right. And then the Z index, positioning this element on top of another element. Z index basically works like layers, and I'm just going to make a tutorial about that. Now let me show you something to do with the motion effects. Still, you can decide on how you want your divider to fade in or even to show up, you know, a lot more. So I'll just leave everything here to none. And then also, for example, the responsive mode, you may decide that you don't want this divider to show up on a mobile device, so you just simply disable that by hiding it, or even on a tablet. So that means if we view it on a mobile device, it won't be appearing. So I'll leave it to be on default. I want it to appear everywhere else. And simply, that's how amazing the Elementor divider works like. You can customize everything, put in your colors. So at the same time, you can actually use the same divider on different other sections by just here right clicking, and then you copy or duplicate. So I can copy this and come right to a very different other section. Then I can paste my divider, and here I can decide on how my divider is going to be positioned. Maybe that is left. And then I can change the color. In this case, I can just make it white. Then you'll be good to go. But in this case, a divider doesn't look nice here on my other hero section. So when I update, I preview, scroll down here to my divider section, and boom. Depending on how you want to use it, you can place it on top of different elements, sections within your Elementor website. So that's how you can simply put to use the Elementor divider element. And I hope this tutorial brings you value. If you're new to this channel, please do all those things: like, subscribe, comment, share. It's your life. I'll be happy also to know that you are doing all that stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Peace.